The Pixel 4a was Google's most affordable smartphone last year and the successor to the popular Pixel 3a launched in 2019. I've always been a fan of stock Android, which means that I find myself switching to the Pixel 4a constantly. Well, it's been a year of on and off usage now, and I have a lot to share with you. I'm Rohan from TechieTechTech, and let's talk about the Pixel 4a in 2021. Here we go. One of my favorite things about the Pixel 4a when it first launched was just the overall aesthetic. That still holds true a year later today. Be it the classic matte black color, the no frills clean design, or even the smooth plastic body, I just love how this phone is built. It is thin, it is lightweight, and it is extremely easy to use one-handed. One of the caveats is that this phone does not feel like it can survive a beating, so a case is definitely and strictly recommended. However, the design and the build goes on to show what I believe is the core direction behind the Pixel 4a. See, I believe that the Pixel 4a is in a separate league of its own. If you look at other phones in this price bracket, you'll see the same story. A mid-range product which is crammed up with as many features and frills as possible to imitate that feel of a much more expensive flagship smartphone. In that endeavor to include flagship features at non-flagship prices, we see a lot of compromises and questionable decisions like including multiple useless cameras just to be able to boast of a quad camera setup. With the Pixel 4a, we get a phone which isn't trying to be premium or shiny or attention grabbing. This phone is quintessentially a budget device which promises to deliver on the most essential of features, which it does tremendously. Of course, that does mean a smaller feature set and less exciting hardware, but I still think that there's a lot to salvage here, as you'll see in this review. This same mindset that I talked about can be seen in the Pixel 4a's display. We have a 5.81-inch Full HD Plus panel with a 60Hz refresh rate. It is an OLED display, which means you get deep blacks and gorgeous looking colors. In a vacuum, this is an extremely beautiful display with text that looks crisp and graphics that look vibrant. There is the glaring omission of a higher refresh rate, which is present in almost every phone in this segment. But then again, if it's essentials we are looking at here, then the Pixel 4a clearly checks them all. Moving on to what is definitely the USP of the entire Pixel series, the software experience. The Google Pixel 4a has Pixel Experience, which is basically Android the way Google intended it to be. We get a very lightweight, bloat-free version of Android with extremely good performance and no over-the-top unnecessary features. Even when you talk about the software update situation, the Google Pixel 4a is probably better off than every other Android phone out there. You get fast and reliable updates directly from Google because there's no manufacturer like Samsung or Xiaomi in between who take their own sweet time to skin the latest Android build before delivering it to the users. Now Google has promised at least 3 years of software updates for the Pixel 4a, which means that it will get updates till 2023. I don't think there's any phone in this segment which can boast of a similar update roadmap. After all, while the competition trumps the Pixel 4a when it comes to sheer hardware capability, the Pixel 4a strikes back with an unrivaled software experience. With that being said, there is one caveat to the Pixel software experience. In my usage, there were times when I just missed a certain feature that was in One UI or a certain customization option that was offered in Oxygen OS. What I mean to say is that even though piling up features upon features is not ideal, sometimes these features are actually useful and you can miss them when you move to the somewhat bare bones stock Android. A word about the performance now. It is not good. Even with the clean, bloat-free software, the Pixel 4a definitely does not feel fast. In fact, I see minor lags and dropped frames all the time. Sure, it does not ruin the user experience, but it also does not feel very good. The The culprit is the Snapdragon 730G CPU, which is starting to show its age after just a year of usage. I think it is safe to say that the Pixel 4a is the slowest or the least powerful phone in this segment today. Do not even consider it if you want to game or do intensive tasks on your phone. Let's talk about the cameras now. The Pixel 4a sports only one camera on the rear and the front. It sports a 12 megapixel f1.7 camera module with OIS on the rear and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. We know it looks a bit underwhelming when compared with other smartphones with triple or even quad camera setups. So let's jump in to see how it performs a year later. As always, we'll talk about the photos first and then move on to the videos. The pictures shot with the Pixel 4a look fantastic. Google's image processing delivers images with high dynamic range, low noise, and an exceptionally good amount of detail. In short, the Pixel 4a's camera delivers impressive images whenever you click the shutter button. Moving to portrait mode, the Pixel 4a does not have any depth sensor and captures portraits with precise subject separation. It also allows you to tinker with the blur settings in post. Moreover, the skin tones are also on point and look very accurate. The 8 megapixel selfie camera has a fixed focus but does a decent job and delivers respectable stills in most lighting conditions. Low light performance is also incredible for a camera sensor this size. The images have accurate colors and plenty of details even in challenging environments. The only thing that's missing is the lack of a good telephoto or a good ultra-wide camera. Moving on to the videos, the Pixel 4a can shoot videos in 4K at 30 frames per second and Full HD at up to 120 frames per second. On the flip side, the front camera tops at 1080p at 30 frames per second. In terms of video quality, the Pixel 4a shoots videos with good color accuracy and image stabilization. Please note that the noise levels in videos have also improved since last year. In short, the overall video quality looks decent for a product in this price segment. To conclude, the Pixel 4a captures amazing stills that could easily take on the competition in its price bracket. The only caveat that I can think of with the Pixel camera is the lack of an ultra-wide camera. If you're someone who captures a lot of pictures, then the Pixel 4a is the perfect point and shoot camera for you. But if you like to tinker with the camera settings and want more focal lengths to shoot with, there are plenty of offerings from Samsung or OnePlus or a lot of other brands that might interest you more. Anyway, let's talk about the battery life now. I would have said that the Pixel 4a has the best battery life of any compact Android phone, but that wouldn't mean much since there aren't that many smaller size phones anyway. But what I would say is that the Pixel 4a has given me great battery life even after an year of wear and tear. Lasting an entire day is not a big deal with a 100% charge giving roughly 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. The saving grace for the Google Pixel 4a is probably its non-existent standby battery drain. This can easily make this a 2-day phone if you're not the kind of person who's using the phone constantly. Again, the Pixel 4a does miss out on some key frills and features like super fast wired charging or any form of wireless charging. Most, if not all, of the competition has these features. And now for a few quick highlights before we conclude. The call quality on this phone is excellent, among the best out there. Very clear earpiece, very clear microphone, which makes phone calls an amazing experience. The stereo speakers and haptics are very good in this phone and dare I say a level above the competition. The rear mounted fingerprint sensor is very fast and accurate. I miss it a lot when I switch away from the Pixel 4a. Oh, we also have a headphone jack here, so if you haven't moved on to Bluetooth and still prefer wired audio, you have that option available on the Pixel 4a. And now to conclude. In a vacuum, the Pixel 4a is a good phone. It checks basically all the essentials. However, the smartphone market is anything but a vacuum, especially in this very crowded segment. Budget options from the likes of Xiaomi, Realme, OnePlus and Samsung are not only more powerful but also have much better hardware, allowing for a more versatile feature set like an ultra-wide camera. However, if you are a stock Android enthusiast or just want a compact phone which gets the job done, the Pixel 4a is still a fine option. For everyone else, I think the competition will serve you better. I hope this video helped you out guys, and if it did, help us back by liking this video, sharing it and subscribing to the channel. Comment your views on the Pixel 4a down below. This has been Rohan from TechieTechTech and I will see you in the next video. Bye.